Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Today, my presentation is going to be about APU processors, specifically AMD. Imagine you have a computer and your dimensions are a little restricted for the specific build. How are you going to fit a dedicated graphics card inside of something as small as a DAN A4 or a small ITX form factor case? Play this idea out in your head for a little bit. It's kind of hard to imagine fitting a fully dedicated graphics card in something that small, right? Well, this is where the APU comes in. An APU stands for Accelerated Processing Unit. This name was given to a new approach to processor design by AMD. The basic idea of an APU is to put a CPU, a GPU, and a memory controller on the same piece of silicon. This would result in better data transfer rates, since there are only nanometers to send data rather than a bridge across an entire motherboard. And supposedly less power usage. For programmers, this would provide both scalable and parallel vector computing from the same hardware, possibly allowing easier parallel programming. Now, we're going to look at the design. As seen in this simple block diagram of an APU, As seen in this simplified block diagram of an APU is composed of several x86 CPU cores and a GPU connected by a high-speed data bus. The GPU and the CPU components share the same memory. Shared memory means that AMD benefits from higher clock speeds and capacities in RAM, since APUs don't have their own dedicated graphics cards. The memory at a higher rate is a lot more easier for it to access. Intel uses a similar strategy with most of their chips, in which is their integrated graphics as well. Intel offers on the graphics side are usually a little bit more vanilla than AMD for basic users, but they serve their purpose. We were talking about web browsing and streaming videos. Intel has dominated the market for so long, they had to invent their own slightly less crappy version of their APU so that customers didn't accidentally look at AMD. However, Ryzen's APUs generally perform 4 to 5 times better than Intel's best APU. That being said, let's look a little bit of history at the Zen architecture. AMD acquired ATI, a GPU manufacturer, in 2006. They soon began working right away to combine a CPU and GPU architecture. This new design was announced that year as AMD Fusion APU, a hybrid of an AMD x86 CPU and an ATI GPU. Intel shortly afterwards announced their own APU, codenamed Sandy Bridge. NVIDIA also announced their own Project Denver, which is based on the ARM processors. AMD believes in maintaining a stable CPU socket for as long as possible. It helps to extend the life of your motherboard purchase, giving you opportunities to upgrade down the line. Sockets AM4 for the AMD Ryzen processor is no different. AMD has released software updates for existing motherboards that support Ryzen 3 2200G and the Ryzen 5 2400G. In fact, most motherboards should already be compatible. And if your motherboard does not, it could be as simple as a BIOS update. This is a video about the security and showing off the AMD Pro series. The AMD Ryzen 3 2200G has 4 cores and 4 threads. They normally come with a base clock of 3.5 gigahertz and can boost up to 3.7 gigahertz. They are normally going to run you up at about $94 to $100 depending on where you buy them. Whereas the much more powerful and hyper-threaded counterpart, the AMD Ryzen 5 2400G, comes with 4 cores and 8 threads, 3.6 gigahertz, and can boost up to 3.9 gigahertz. Their TDP is about the same, and they both support the same type of RAM. Does anybody have any questions about APUs or related processors? Nobody? APUs are good for all-around systems and have a very large variety of applications, especially for their compact size. Whether it be a computer for your home, mom and dad, maybe little Timmy to play the occasional web browser game, and maybe even some higher end games such as AAA titles on lower end settings. My name is Benton Phillips. This concludes my presentation about APU processors.